Hello everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here today. This is your one-stop shop for cryptocurrency analysis, among many other things. We're taking a look here today at Luna, which is Terra Luna. I've covered this obviously in the past, as you might likely already know, but I'm covering it again because my community asked that I go ahead and reference this. So thank you to my patrons for recommending that I cover this here today, because it is testing its most recent all-time high after breaking a most recent all-time high. So this is actually a very awesome coin, a lot of potential here, and I'm getting a lot of bullish sentiments here based on what I've just quickly looked at. But we'll dive deeper here today to find some best practice for you so you can, become a better, more effective trader on your own. I have a signal group that I share with my community members too. Check that out. Link in the description below. My Crypto Cash Premium account. It is very beneficial for a lot of people that are kind of new and starting off. I provide you with entry points, profit targets, sell targets, best practice, and essentially just make sure that you are in the know. I'm also providing hodl signals and swing trade signals as well. Okay, so all good things there. Check that out in your own time, of course. But without further ado, oh, I'm sorry, I have to do this. I am not a financial advisor. This is for educational purposes only. You should do your own research and just make sure that you learn as much as you can from as many people as possible. Always recommend doing that. It's where I've got to my point where I'm at in my life here with my trading style is based on the fact that I have learned a lot from a lot of other people over the last 15 years. So keep in mind, I've been doing this for a very long time, but it is easier than you might think as long as you have good strict rules that you follow, and you make sure that you never deviate from them and have good risk tolerance. So either way, I'll go ahead and reference that here in the video. Of course, you'll learn more about that as we progress. But I want to thank you again for joining me here today. Without further ado, let's get to it. Let's check out the charts. All right, folks, let's go and take a look here at Luna. Just before we do, we always look at Bitcoin and Ethereum first to get a baseline of the market so we know exactly what's going on before we jump in, because any good trader will know what the two top coins are doing. Obviously, because Bitcoin controls the market and Ethereum, there's a lot of coins in the ERC20 market. Blockchain, whatever you want to call it, it's there. Okay, so we're going to look at both of those. Now, first things first, to preface, I utilize TradingView.com desktop application. I get this question a lot. I use way more than 2 indicators present at any given time, so I use the paid versions myself. If you'd like a paid version yourself to kind of try it before you buy it, there's a link in the description below for a free month. Reference that in your own time. Now this is Bitcoin 4-hour chart. It looks kind of crazy because we have this ascending pattern, of course, this channel essentially driving the price up, and Bitcoin's been pretty consistent here with that. So it's likely that when the price gets over here closer to this point, even beforehand, we'll see the price come up to break 50,000 and of course continue on its way to 58 and higher. Now, just to note as well, price is over the 200 and the 50-day simple moving average. This is the 200, the orange, and the purple here is the 50. Correction, 200 is the purple, 50 is the orange line there. So that is kind of essentially, those are typically strong support and resistance levels. Price being above both is helpful. Also note we're above support at 48,000, above a secondary support of 46.5, and of course we've got 44,000 here as well. So we got 3 nice strong support levels. Just in case we do lose any one of them, it'll move on to the next and essentially likely bounce back. Now, there's a strong chance, of course, with this price having come up here and dropped down below, it'll try to test again, possibly get rejected and come down to bounce off 48,000, and then move its way on up to complete this ascending pattern. So yeah, that's just a strong chance consideration here. But one thing I do want to note, because I get this question recently, it's like, well, first of all, the price obviously was above. For about 12 hours here today, it was above 50,000. Is 50,000 considered a support level now? The answer is no. It's still a resistance, because the 1-day chart, which is kind of the main chart that all the industry leaders are utilizing, it basically broke that and then retraced. In other words, yes, it was up over 50,000, but it essentially continued on to close below that. It's when the candlestick closes when you can call it official, right? So just keep that in mind. That's what the 1-day chart's telling us here, that even though, yes, we had a good 12 to 16 hours above, it didn't close, therefore we're still under its considered resistance, so 50,000 is still a strong resistance. Moving forward to Ethereum. Very similar scenario here as well. It's pretty much a copy and paste, for lack of better terms, just different support and resistance levels. The 50 is working a little bit stronger as a support level here on Ethereum, but if you see, of course, we got a major resistance here. It's trending around like 33, literally I saw that like multiple times today when I checked. So it couldn't make up its mind if it wanted to go higher or lower there, which is fine, because we're above support here at 3250 and a secondary support at 2900. Okay, so Ethereum's all in all pretty good shape. Now Luna, I have some support and resistance levels here drawn out from before, of course, because I covered it maybe a few days ago. I feel like it was about a week ago, if I'm not mistaken. And it's done some things since then, so this is quite interesting. I like to see it. Luna's taken off. So we'll just go ahead and remark some of the support and resistance levels, but look at the one-day chart here, obviously. Its previous all-time high, which I believe was, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, that is the all-time high, was right around $22. So 22 was the all-time high. It broke that quite hard, quite fast. In a matter of just say one day, it broke it and then continued on. So as we can see, though, it did close right here and essentially was considered resistance. Then it broke it the day after. Moving on, we do also have the golden cross that coincidentally drove the price up around the same time. RSI is still up over 70 on the one-day chart. But what's interesting here, and this happens sometimes, when the price is above 70 and below 100, it's considered to be a support level now at 70. So the price keeps coming down and bounces off. So that's what a strong momentous bull run will give you. It'll give you RSI support and resistance levels, which are usually here. And keep in mind too, some people don't know this, but the RSI does have a good indication of different channels. In other words, you can tell if it's bearish, it'll be kind of descending. If it's bullish, it's ascending. But sometimes it'll stay between 50 and 70, and 30 and 50. Just something to kind of pay attention to. But with it being consistently over 70 right now, there's a chance Luna will not slow down anytime soon. Now you'd probably be like, well, why hasn't it yet? Well, there's a good chance that it's ready to keep moving forward, because look at this here. It had 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 5 days of consolidation or sideways action. Yes, that was more so retracement, but it's still consolidating, right? So I think with the fact that we are trying to break the most recent all-time high, which appears to be resistance at about 33.50 plus or minus, and there's a strong chance that that will get tested and broken again. It may close here today underneath, but it likely will continue based on its current momentum. So we'll look at smaller time frames to kind of see if it's been a good, healthy bull run. But a good bull run does something like this here, where you see the price come up and over. And that went up really hard, but then it did come back down, and there's a good chance it could continue back up. Okay, because there's got to be breathing room when it comes to a bull run. Every bull run has to have a chance to recover. Let the bears get their piece and then shut them out. Right? That's kind of how it goes. It's that up and down action. It needs to happen in trading. And that is actually a very healthy thing. So moving on, let's go ahead and take a look, see if we can identify that. First and foremost, support levels for the 50. It's working pretty consistent as a support. In fact, it hasn't even been touched in a while. Instead of bouncing off it, essentially just jumped above beforehand. So 50 is still considered to be a support. Same with the 200. Previous support level here at about 1350 is long gone. My goodness, that is like $20 ago. That wasn't too long ago either. So Luna's been doing some things. Oh man, I'm happy for whomever actually got in the single digit range. Even those who got in between 10 and 20, doing very well. Good for you. Now moving on, let's see here. Looking at this here, this is 2180. We can round up to say 22. That was what the previous all-time high, right? Yep. Okay. So that is considered a support level now moving forward, right? Another thing we want to look at too is the bottom here recently. It did kind of bottom out at about $27. So we'll just quickly mark that. That could very well be actually $26.90. We'll say $26.90. That's the most recent support level here. But if we lose $26.90, the secondary support was the previous all-time high, about $21.85. Again, plus or minus a couple dollars, but that's generally what you're looking at there. So all in all, got some good support levels. Got the 50 working with us, 200. This is very, very good. And here's the cool thing. Even though we ramped up pretty hard just here a moment ago, about the last 8 hours, we got some bullish momentum. The RSI was able to calm down on the 4-hour chart enough where the price is still almost under. It's basically just barely peaking over 70 on the RSI. That's fantastic. And you see here, look at this. Look at how the 50, right here, this is 50. See how it worked as a support level? Price comes down and bounces right off. It's an interesting thing how that works, but in good bull runs, that's a consideration. Here's another great thing too. We got a nice convergence on the MACD and the 4-hour chart at 1300. That was roughly 4 hours ago. So we're going to mark that here and kind of see what happened with the Ishimoku cloud as well. Generally speaking, I love MACD convergence on the 4-hour chart. That is essentially the best thing you could ask for. And then honestly, if we get a secondary indication as on the Ishimoku cloud as well on the 1-hour chart, then that'll be like kind of a home run here. Let's see what's going on. Look at that. Perfect. Love it. So this is great. This is a great situation here. Basically, it just means there's a strong chance that we're going to break this most recent high. I think it's on target to do that because it had enough time to calm down on the RSI. Everything's, relaxed, so to speak. You had this nice digression here, followed by a strong push to test this resistance again. So yes, even though 33.50 is a resistance, I feel like it's going to be tested and rejected. Correction, tested and broken soon. Yes, it got rejected here recently, but I think that if it can continue here, in other words, a lot of times what you'll see is like an ascending pattern where it keeps testing and testing, then eventually breaks out. I am bullish on Luna right now. This is looking good. All this stuff is very positive. But the bottom line here, and I forgot to highlight this, I just kind of got excited, is the fact that the price is above the cloud. So if you're new to the channel, this Ishimoku cloud is essentially just tells us when there's buy signals and sell signals. It's the same effect as a convergence on the MACD or a divergence, essentially on the downside for the MACD as well. But when the price jumps above, and this is what I marked, this is a 4-hour chart telling us we got a convergence in the MACD. The 1-hour chart also says, hey, price is above the cloud. It is time to buy. You have permission, right? That's kind of what it means. And again, when the price is below, it's considered a sell signal. When it's above, it's considered a buy signal, right? So just some things to note, and that's really super awesome here. I like this, and that's another reason why I feel like this resistance level will be tested again and broken eventually, is based on the fact that it is trying, and it has all the right momentous indicators right now. Moving on to the 15-minute. Let's just go ahead and quickly identify this. Actually, hold on. Let's go back to the 1 hour, and I want to just see if there's any TD sequential. Oh, this is great too. Look at this here. We've got a 5 on TD sequential. That means there's a strong chance we could have another right around 4 to 6 hours of either a consolidation or 4 to 6 hours of this bull run. So this could push the next couple of hours, push to try to break this resistance. If Bitcoin can break 50,000 here in the very near future, this is going to take off. Because look at what it's doing right now when Bitcoin is essentially doing this. Bitcoin's going down and Luna's going up. That's a great sign. Basically means it's moving, I wouldn't say completely independent of Bitcoin, because I've obviously noticed that Luna does rely on Bitcoin to an extent. But when there's a bullish sentiment in the market with Bitcoin doing well, even though it's regressed a little bit, and it's like closer to 49,000, there's still that chance, the fact that everyone's buying, everyone's accumulating, and they're trying to get coins like this, and Luna is ready to take off. So anyways, this is a good sign too. We got still more gas left in the tank here, so to speak. All right, back to the 15. Let's see if we got, this is pretty self-explanatory as well. But generally speaking, if you are new to the channel, the EMA and VWAP is very helpful for identifying bullish trends. Now we've got the VWAP, the blue line here, that's the volume weighted average price. Takes a lot volume last 24 hours, expresses as a price. So it's essentially a consistent support and resistance level. When the price is above it, it's a support. When it's below, it's resistance. So obviously right now we can see the price is above. We had a nice buy signal here with the price being above EMA and VWAP, and essentially giving us two 15-minute candlesticks to complete that confirmation. That's what I look for in my signal group. Now, when I send signals to my community members, link in the description below for my Patreon account, that is essentially something that I look for every single time. And I don't use it every time, of course, because it doesn't happen all the time, but it's like that icing on the cake. It's like, okay, great. Price over EMA, price over VWAP, and furthermore, I have 30 minutes of confirmation the bulls are in control. That's a good takeoff point. So that would have been an awesome entry point. Of course, hindsight's 20/20. It's easy to identify that, but those are things that I look for. Okay, so let's see here. Now, the EMA, of course, is working as a support as well. Bear in mind the EMA line is an exponential moving average. I use the EMA 15. Most defaults are 9 and 20. I split the difference with one indicator instead of two. I think it's less noise. It makes more sense. Here in this example, the price being above, that's considered bullish. Therefore, we have bulls are in control right now, right? There's not a large variation or deviation from the VWAP to the price action. We got only 4%. That's not terrible. That's actually very good. Anything under 10 means there's still room for growth. So again, I feel like this is a very good consideration for a buy signal here. There's nothing I'm getting that's essentially bearish at all. The only thing that could happen, and this is a likelihood, of course, in every circumstance, even though we have all these awesome indications, there's no doubt that the price is overextended to a degree, right? It just hit 70 on the RSI on the 4-hour chart. Therefore, it could come back down and retrace based on this being a resistance level. If it does happen, heaven forbid the price comes down to about 26 what, 2685, I think we identified, 2690, and that's the next major support level. But I don't foresee that being an issue based on the simple fact that we have nice momentum. We're making higher highs and higher lows right now. Okay, so again, higher highs and higher lows. So all good things. I see nothing here that's bearish about Luna right now. I think it's going to continue to take off, and if we can get a spike from Bitcoin, it's going to be even better. It's going to continue to make new higher highs. But yeah, right now, the only thing that's holding us back is this potential resistance of 33.50. So if you have a position open right now, highly recommend you move up your stop loss to at least 22 and or 27, depending on where you took entry. Especially if you got there in the single digits, just so you can ensure that you secure that profit. But if you're kind of, I don't know, a little more conservative like me, I would move my stop loss up as I get closer to this limit here. Because yes, it could break and continue on, but there's a chance it could consolidate and go sideways and retrace. Again, there's always that likelihood. There's no guarantees, but I can tell you that this is a strong consideration for a bull run. So I would consider heavily considering a position here. Just make sure you pay attention to your stop losses and your stop limits, and only risk what you're comfortable with losing. Right? Your risk tolerance should be tight and don't have it very loose or open. I mean, a lot of times you want to shoot for a 3-to-1 ratio, or of course, it's just got to be a little bit more open with crypto. If you do like traditional trading, where a big day is a 3 to 5% gain, that's a slow day for cryptocurrency, right? So your risk tolerance has to be a little bit larger than usual, but only risk again what you're willing to lose. It's a key takeaway there. All right, well, I hope you found benefit. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Check out my Telegram group or community if you'd like. Link in the description below. All the social media stuff's down there as well. And feel free to consider joining me on Patreon. Love to have you along as one of my community members. Thank you so much for your time here today. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.